Good afternoon, it is Saturday. And time for the second season of the Weirded Beardos podcast to begin. No more warnings, you should know by now that Dr. Chatter and the bearded techie are immature, and Jenny is low-key, the worst of them all. So, listen at your own risk. The show is unscripted and in the moment, so who knows what will fall out of their dirty little mouths. That being stated, please give them a thumbs up, subscribe, and feel free to chime in on the conversation with a comment. Additionally, you may join their mailing list at weirdedbeardos.com and be automatically entered in future contests and free giveaways. If you are willing to call in, send a text to 530 YouTube with your name and topic, and we may give you a call. And now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the funniest duo in their personal universe, the Weirded Beardos.
Okay, what's up, everybody?
We're having technical difficulties there in the beginning.
Yeah, a little bit of technical difficulty, but we're here and we're ready to steer. I guess that works. But second season is the first episode. We're gonna try and jump right into our guest here because we are running late and we only have him for 60 minutes. So today we got Aaron Ra. He's a well-known atheist. If you are an atheist. I follow him on YouTube. I watch a lot of his stuff, and I think he's a pretty. His stuff is so informative. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it and get him in here.
There he is. Hello, sir.
Hello, boys. How do you do?
Good. How are you?
It's all right. It's all right. I didn't know if you knew if I was back here. I was back here ever since before everything started freezing up, before OBS crashed.
So you could hear us?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Good to know.
I was like, I fucking hope not.
Oh, it's fantastic.
So where are you broadcasting from that I can see traffic, or are we master green screeners?
This is Dr. Chatta's clinic. So he has a clinic here in the Denver metro area, and we just kind of dedicated a little bit of his space to our multimedia needs. He just got the space. We were working out of his spare room for a while, and now we're here, and it's just so much better to be in a bigger open space.
But yeah, we were cramped in the other place.
Yeah.
And I went looking, so I was mobile for a while. So I still have a bus that's got hardwood floors and all the fancy stuff, and I would go around to people's houses and treat them in their front yard or driveway. But then I was looking for a place to we kind of slacked on our YouTube channels in addition to the podcast. I wanted a space where we were somewhere else, and if we brought a guest physically in, they would have to come to my home, and I wasn't comfortable with some of the people that we were in contact with. And so I went looking for a place to put that in, and then I stumbled upon this space, which was a chiropractic office previous. And so I just kind of assumed this place, and here we are.
I was wondering, so they call the doctor and you go to their house. And where do you go? I mean, is it back to the 1920s or earlier?
Not that far back, because I am a person of color. I think it'd be kind of scary to go too far back. Because, but other than that, I would
Be good for me.
Yeah, he'd be perfectly fine. So I don't know. I always thought about I really enjoy to grow up, on the 50s movies. So my grandparents watched a lot of old westerns and stuff. Man, it'd be so cool to live back in that time, but not as a personal struggle.
Is it currently raining close to your microphone?
No.
Okay.
I don't know why you said that though.
Let's see if I can clean that up a little bit.
Because that's something I noticed as soon as I came on backstage was it's either raining really heavy or that's surf.
Jenny breathes really heavy. Yeah. Through her nose. In other places. Air comes out.
All right, I don't mind the sound of flowing water.
Okay. Is that any better? Is it?
It's dropped a bit for a moment there. That's all right. We're not going to waste too much time worried about foul weather.
Okay.
It didn't happen to my house. That's all I'm saying. We'll leave that there.
Okay. Well, it should be I had the noise removal turned on, so it should be a little bit better.
So what are we talking about, guys?
So I am the one who decided to go ahead and send out an invite and try and get you on. I watch a lot of your YouTube stuff. You just showed up in recommended one day when I was watching something about Noah's Ark, and you had like this intensive breakdown of all the different problems with that, and I found that like really like I was just like, yes, that's all the things I couldn't articulate. Like you can put into words a lot of the different things I was thinking about religion, but I didn't know how to say them, right? So I've always found your stuff like really just kind of enlightening, and I thought it'd be really great just to have a conversation with you about a couple different topics, and just get to see who you are and get to know you a little bit.
Very good. Let's proceed then.
Okay. So you are still the chapter leader of the Texas Atheist Organization. Am I getting that right?
No, that's not quite right.
Okay.
I am an official representative of American Atheists.
Okay.
I was Texas State Director, but they no longer do the regional director program, so I'm on their board of directors, and I think I am an official representative of that organization, but that's about it. I might represent them if there's ever a local news story or something like that.
Okay, cool. So what else do you do besides YouTube? I don't know if you're on any other platforms, and I know you do like educational classes for schools and stuff.
Well, we were doing an educational video series, and my wife stopped doing that. My wife was the one that was writing the script for those because she was a middle school teacher. She was a curriculum specialist with the next generation science standards. And she stopped doing those and went ahead and got her master's degree in science writing from Johns Hopkins. So we're probably going to be resuming that again.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
The goal behind that, the educational series, was we had been making videos that teachers could, and we understood that some teachers did, opt to play these videos for their classrooms to teach subjects that very often teachers find difficult to believe, or assuming not difficult to believe, but difficult to teach. For example, most of the people, like 20% of Texas science teachers, 20% of them are young Earth creationists. Why are they science teachers? Because they want to undermine science every way that they can. My son, coincidentally, happened to be in a science class that was taught by a young Earth creationist, and the teacher passed out the textbooks and announced to the kids that there's no such thing as a beneficial mutation. To which my son raised his hand and said, "But teacher, the textbook lists beneficial mutations." And so my son was sent to the principal's office for insubordination.
Jeez, wow.
Yeah, so this is just the way that our school system works. If the teacher is willing to teach evolution, they're probably not going to understand it because few people do. And if they do understand it, they're probably not going to be able to teach it very well. And even if they can teach it very well, then they're going to get opposition, not just from the students who are trained by their church congregations to interrupt the classroom on hearing certain buzzwords or keywords, but also by the parents of those students and also by the faculty, because the administrators do not support teachers who are not advocating religious beliefs. So my wife, for example, as a teacher, was frequently finding herself contested by the other administrators as well as parents and students and, of course, other teachers and everything. So better to have a simple video that is approved for national science, next generation curriculum standards, and so that we're all teaching the same thing, and play that video for your students. So now you get an adequate explanation, and the teacher doesn't have to understand any of it, and the teacher doesn't have to say that they agree or disagree with it. They can just say that this is a lesson on this subject, and they can play that lesson. And we started out doing the very basic kind of middle school stuff, but there's a lot of stuff in the Texas educational standards that were not being taught. I did a poll of like 200 people in an audience in Texas in the National Museum. These are these things that you're supposed to have been taught in school. So everybody here was taught in Texas. Were you taught these things? And nobody in the class, nobody in the room, 200 people, nobody in the room had been taught any of these things. And yet they're part of the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. So the teachers are just glossing right over that. So that's what the educational series was about. And what I'm seeing is that we're seeing a huge movement on all sides for anti-intellectualism. For whatever reason, for multiple agendas, I think that they're coordinating to dumb down America, if not the rest of the world. And it's a sad thing. We've seen it coming for a long time. Carl Sagan and Isaac Asimov and others have written about their concern for how people have less and less respect for academics, less and less respect for expertise, where everyone's personal opinion, no matter how ignorant, is considered to be equal to the scientific consensus, even on subjects they've never studied. So that's one of the things that we argue with, or that we fight against.
Okay.
Especially being in Texas, because Texas is a very Christian-based state. Of all the places that I've lived, it's different down there than most places. And I remember when I took zoology in undergrad, and the professor, first words out of his mouth was like, "I'm teaching the class as it is in the book. So you may have different beliefs, you may have different understandings of the world around you, but this is the course as it is." And I was like, that was one of the coolest things he ever did. Like, I'm just teaching the class. I'm not giving my opinion. I'm not doing anything. I'm just teaching the class based on the book. How hard would that be?
Yeah, and here's
to take that down.
This is a big clue in that, they'll tell us that we shouldn't indoctrinate students in science, and they want to call science a religion, which of course it's not. They're just trying to do the projection. It's a logical fallacy called tu quoque, as well as false equivalence. They want to say that religion is somehow supported by scientific evidence when it isn't, and that science is based on faith, which of course it isn't, or that a scientific position is somehow a religion. And they'll say that about evolution. They'll say that about whether the earth is round. They will accuse us of believing that for religious faith.
Well, so what inspired you to start doing your own YouTube channel, like doing these, like refuting the irrefutable proof of God? What inspired that?
Well, I've long been interested in evolution, and there was a time when I was a kid when absolutely every single adult I had ever met in the entirety of my life were all creationists, every single one. I had not met anyone who even knew what evolution was, much less accepted it, until I got into middle school. But I was never a creationist myself. Somebody had given me a book on dinosaurs, like in second grade, and it had a cladogram or a dendrogram in it, so that I could see how all organisms were related, and that seemed very obvious to me.
Absolutely.
And then it was later in that same year when my family decided that 8 years old is the age of reason, so that was when they were going to start to indoctrinate me. By then, I already understood what science was. I already understood what phylogenetics was, so it was kind of too late. And I remember my first reaction to that was when they brought me the Bible and they said, "This is the absolute truth." And I went, "No, it isn't, because see what it says here?" I mean, that was honestly my first reaction to it. Now, as an adult, when I get on the internet for the first time, I start seeing people in all these discussion groups, and I got into a conversation with a fundamentalist group bragging that their congregation had, against the Johnson Amendment, against the Constitution, they had all been voting, their entire congregation, as a block, exactly the way their minister told them to, because their minister was on the phone with a bunch of other ministers to coordinate all these church congregations so that they would all vote together, so that they could establish, or that they could position certain judges and senators in key positions. So it was part of their culture war. And the group I was talking with at that time, this is around about Y2K, the group I was talking with them were Reconstructionists, citing R.J. Rushdoony of the Chalcedon Institute and bragging how many senators from the Chalcedon Institute they had already positioned. And what a Reconstructionist was these were the people who wanted to replace our representative democratic republic with a theocracy that would enforce not just God's law, but Levitical law. So if you've ever worried that Sharia law was bad, imagine what Levitical law was.
That's a whole other book.
Levitical law is where where it is a capital offense worthy of the death penalty for working weekends.
Wow.
Yeah, to give you an idea. And when I say weekends, they've never established whether the Sabbath is Friday night to Saturday evening or is it Sunday. So best just not to work on the weekend at all, because someone will kill you over that.
Like, I'm down for that. For this weekend.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I was raised in Iowa, Catholic, hardcore. I remember you saying you didn't meet an adult that didn't believe in the Bible. That's how I was raised, and I was the same way. I would ask all these questions. I went to the Catholic school, in elementary school, and I remember I'd have these questions, and I would get in trouble, and they'd bust out the wooden spoon and things of that nature because I was being mischievous or whatever the case may be, the devil's tongue and all this fancy stuff, because I had questions. And I was, just inquiring about the world around me. Like, you can say that the Bible is this, or this, but obviously you can look around you and see signs of evolution, and all of a sudden once you start getting into just the basic plant biology and things that are like, teach it as it is. And I got tangent close. Sorry about that, but yeah, I'm annoyed that that's how they're teaching children still.
Yeah, in 2021.
Yeah, like, it's, the reason you're dumbed down is because we're not allowed to ask questions anymore. And like, it makes more sense like that you're talking about all these churches and stuff are getting together to try to change things.
Yeah, so I'm talking to these religious fundamentalists who literally want to take over the government. And the plan that they were revealing to me was months later revealed in what was called the Wedge document. It was an accidental leak from the Discovery Institute, wherein they were trying to position all these predators and predators at key locations to try to undermine science education. That was their first step. And somebody's playing with the sound and eliminated the rain song. That was cool.
Yeah, it just came to me that there was a setting I needed to turn on in the stream app, and I just clicked it on.
Well, that's beautiful because I can hear you now. Okay.
Oh, great.
Sorry about that.
So I'm talking with these extremists, and there comes out this Wedge document revealing their strategy, that it actually was this plan that they had to undermine science education nationwide, and that eventually this was going to cause people to not understand science so that they would be more open to religious supernatural belief instead. And that they were hoping that at some point somebody was going to challenge the legality of teaching evolution, and that's when the Discovery Institute was going to send their team of lawyers to try to undermine evolution so that they could teach creationism legally again, which they haven't been able to do since 1987. So, but what ended up happening was they did the Kitzmiller versus Dover thing, and of course that didn't work. But in the interim, I'm realizing that there are people that are really trying to take over the country in a really bad way against the Constitution and try to turn us into a theocracy, try to turn us into an extreme theocracy, something akin to Sharia. And so I had to do something. And I knew that I was having these arguments with people online every day back in the days of Usenet, and I realized I'm just cutting and pasting the arguments that I had yesterday. The same damn questions keep coming up, so I keep giving the same answers. And until I started keeping a huge Word document with all of these explanations in it. And I would revise them a little bit, add a little bit more to it and all that. Eventually I realized that nobody reads, but if you make a video, then even people with short attention span and virtually no education could understand in a 10-minute span this topic that I want to present. So I created my YouTube channel and started making these videos to explain these simple things as best I could. That was the video series on the foundational falsehoods of creationism. And that's kind of what got me started. And that later became, I was at a humanist meeting in, New Orleans. And the publisher came up to me and asked me to turn it into a book, which I did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So 440 pages explaining the lies, the foundational falsehoods of creationism. I didn't include the Noah's Ark bit because I was trying to be general. I was trying to attack creationism in not just Christian versions, but also Islam.
Okay.
And then the Noah's Ark thing, of course, was attacking the Judeo-Christian story of Noah's Ark. And now I'm doing one that's specific to Islam. I'm doing a series where an infidel reads the Quran. And so every couple of weeks I post a blog post about what I've read from the Quran, what surah it is, and then I hold a video meeting where I have all of these ex-Muslim apostates who were raised in Islam, who speak Arabic, and can tell me whether my interpretations are right or wrong. And I'm reading. I'm not just reading the Quran. I'm also reading tafsirs. I'm reading multiple different translations at once, comparing them. I'm not messing with the hadiths because that's too much. But and then I have this this team of people who say, is this the understanding that Muslims have? They were raised Muslim. They speak Arabic, so they know, right? And I'm criticized all the time that I'm going about it the wrong way. Why am I going about it the wrong way? Because the people I'm talking to don't still believe it. But I find that there's a problem. I can't get believers onto my show without deconverting them rather quickly.
Yeah, you see, because one of the reasons they find you in the first place is they have doubt. I think a lot of them, when you're trapped around people who think like you, it's easy to just shut up and stay in that mode. But when you have a person that presents it, the reality of what it is, it's really hard to stay on the other side. And like I've had friends that would just sort of ask questions because I stopped believing. I think I really didn't believe. I just go through the motions. It's not good expansion. But I think once you find people that see the world as you do, it's easy to jump on that ship and see the light kind of open your eyes. For lack of a better explanation.
Right. Yeah. I remember like the moment I had questions, but the moment I really stopped believing and just confirmed that I don't agree with any concept that religion has put forth yet was when I saw The Unbelievers with Richard Dawkins and Richard Krause, and then I started getting into Christopher Hitchens. And
It's funny that I wasn't in that movie because
were you supposed to be?
I was in all those locations.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, there's a scene where both of my sons are in that movie,
Oh,
but
awesome.
I'm not. Just by luck of where I happen to be when the cameras are on. I didn't know they were doing a movie,
Okay.
and neither did my boys. But we were at the Reason rally, and my sons were walking around with Lawrence Krauss. And so there's a scene where the camera is talking to Lawrence Krauss, and you will see two long-haired boys behind him, both wearing Ground Lake trench coats. And those are my kids.
Nice.
You can watch it again.
Yeah. Okay. So one more thing I wanted to talk about was so I've been kind of just glazing over Satanism, and from what I can tell, its main purpose is to its main purpose, like to me, I feel like Satanism's main purpose is to I don't know, just to contradict religion and just to be there and I would say Satanism is akin to atheism, right? But it's
Satanism. Satanism is atheism. I mean, I have met a devil worshiper who believed that there actually was a devil and he prayed to it. And we had an amusing conversation for a minute, and then he rage quit. You're the damn devil worshiper, I'm supposed to be afraid of you.
right.
But Satanists, no, LaVeyan Satanists and the Satanic Temple, they're all atheists. And you're right. I mean, that the purpose of atheism is just basically to contradict, Christianity, the dominant religion in the area, and also to promote, certain other values like hedonism and such. And while I know and adore a number of Satanists, I don't identify as Satanist myself. I'm a humanist. I'm an atheist. I'm an activist. I'm an anti-theist. But I don't identify as Satanist. And I tell people that the reason is that I'm not young and cute enough, and I can't afford the wardrobe.
Right, yeah, I guess it does call for a specific outfit when you want to go hang out with your friends.
Those people dress great. Okay.
Yes, indeed. So I'd seen that you. So in Oklahoma, it had the Ten Commandments up. The Satanic Temple wanted to put the Baphomet there. And they decided to take the Ten Commandments down, but then they wanted to put them back up. Did they get it back up?
Well, they didn't. They didn't actually want to take them down. It says somebody drove his car over it, and it was somebody who said that the devil made him do it.
That's amazing.
And it was blamed on Satanists, but it turned out that guy wasn't Satanist. That was a Christian guy who apparently had mental problems and said that the devil made him do it.
Right.
Yeah, and I talked to a couple of local satanic groups, and they said they'd never heard of that guy. He's not with us.
Sure. Yeah, because they're non-violent, like peaceful, right? That's not something that they would do.
Yeah, they're. I believe they have a charter of like 7 rules, not 10 commandments. I think they have only 7, and they're each more moral than what you get in the 10 commandments.
Oh, they're ridiculous. I've never went deep into it, but yeah, like, just respect people and treat people good. Actually, what you're supposed to do, which is the Christianity and stuff, tries to preach, but then they say one thing and do something else. That's my experience.
Yeah, it's funny that atheists, when atheists protest something like the 10 commandments, nobody cares. Nobody makes us think about that. It's only when the Satanists or the Muslims demand equal treatment. And there was an Indian group, there was a Hindu group they wanted to put up a statue of Hanuman. And that's funny, especially for atheists who teach evolution, because Hanuman is the monkey king. And so that would have been great. But the Christians don't care about that. They don't understand what any of that is. They think that Hinduism is worshiping devils anyway. They think everybody but them is worshiping devils, basically.
Right.
And they don't understand what the importance of freedom of religion or what secularism is. They have no idea what secularism is until the Muslims start calling for equal rights, or until the Satanists start calling for equal rights.
Right, because that's what the law demands, right? Equality.
Yeah, so when they want to do faith-based initiatives where they're going to be donating these huge amounts of money to religious schools, and then when Muslim schools say, "Good, we're going to get all of this money for our mosques," suddenly the Christians blink into a different mode. Oh, we're supposed to be secular. We're not supposed to. The state is not supposed to be supporting religious schools. Oh, yeah, funny how you didn't realize that until you realized that it was going to be Muslim schools getting that benefit too.
Oh yeah, let's say like Black Lives Matter. Like, no, all lives matter. We're not talking about all lives. Obviously, all lives matter, and all religions should matter.
If it was true that all lives matter, then we would be able to say. Right. If it was true that all lives matter, then we would be able to say that logically that means that Black lives matter.
100%.
And we wouldn't have to make apologies for making that statement.
Right.
And the only reason that we would refuse to say that Black lives matter and say that all lives matter instead is if we don't really mean that all lives matter, because Black lives don't. That's the only reason.
Well said.
100%. Yeah, I was out somewhere, and a woman was talking with me about something I was buying, and I told her like it was I think it was something from India, and she goes, "Well, if it's not from Jesus, it's of the devil."
Yep, I had exactly that experience. Exactly. I had taken my kids to a Krishna temple, which was a fun experience. I had so much fun with that. And that's a long story I won't tell right now. But anyway, like a couple of days later, we're in a grocery line, and they were selling incense, by the cashier, and I point out to the incense has Krishna on it, and the woman in front of me is like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Well, Krishna's the Hindu god of the bhakti. He is the supreme personality of the Godhead. And, well, if it's Hindu, if it ain't from Jesus, it's of the devil." And I'm like, that's the most closed-minded thought. How do you see or hear when your brain is so shut off?
Which is hilarious, because it's also contradicting everything, because they'll argue God made everything. Just not the stuff that I don't believe in. He made everything, just not the incense.
Well, they also believe that Christianity is the oldest religion, right? So they think that Christianity is older than Judaism.
Right. It was cracking. Yeah. And you try to call them out on that, the brain locks up like that, the rage quit or whatever, like all that stuff. I'm like,
it's the same thing when you're talking to a Muslim, because they think that Moses was a Muslim.
Right.
Because that's what the Quran says. They said that Moses was given the teachings of Islam, and that the Jews corrupted it, and then the Christians corrupted it again.
Wow. Well, yeah. I mean, of course.
Several places the Quran complains that God keeps sending messengers, and the messengers keep screwing up, and the people keep not believing him. And so I have to point out that, hey, maybe God should learn from his mistakes and stop sending messengers to speak for him.
Right.
He's got Netflix, all that stuff.
One downside of doing that series on the Quran is that international travel makes me a little bit more worried because I very often have to stop over in like Qatar, and I really don't want to be recognized in Qatar.
Right. Well, I mean, how much of your demographic is coming from the Middle East? I mean, do you have
More
a
and
big,
more.
more and more? Okay.
Yep, I'm getting a lot of fan mail. I'm getting a lot of activists that are seeking me out that are ex Muslim apostates.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I'm proud to be making some effect.
Yeah, 100%. Like,
It would have to be terrifying. Because we can just freely talk about not being Christian or whatever. No big deal. There's no consequences for us whatsoever.
right? Yeah, I saw like
Other countries, though, like when they're reaching out, like if that letter is intercepted at any point, like
yeah, I saw people doing some type of protest over. I think it was in Iran or Iraq, but they're saying, kill the atheists, find the atheists, let's kill them. They deserve. We need to execute the atheists. We need to execute the infidel. It's like Jesus. It's like there's zero tolerance for anything. Like if you think Christianity is extreme. I mean, I can't even imagine living in such a because Islam is so enmeshed into society over there. It's
so yeah, if you're known in those countries as a person that's like spearheading like a movement, like they would probably go to the end of Europe to hunt you down to the other country.
right. Yeah, it just makes me think of that journalist. I can't remember his name, but one of the crown prince or whatever had him murdered in the embassy.
Khashoggi, not
Yes.
a general. You're talking about the journalist. Yeah,
Yeah, journalist.
yeah. I think his name was Khashoggi.
Yeah, something
So yeah, that's the kind of thing that I'm mildly concerned about. But I've talked to a lot of activists from Bangladesh and from Saudi Arabia, and who really know it. Orders of magnitude worse than I'll ever experience. And I'm really proud of the bravery that these people show. Now they're no longer in those countries because of murder attempts. In some cases repeated murder attempts, so they had to escape. And sometimes there are stories of how they escaped are quite impressive. I'm just really amazed at how brave these people are and how they're backed into a corner and have to fight even when they know what it means to them. And so my activism from the safety of the United States, is relatively pristine. I know a girl that went to Mecca, who went to the Kaaba, and she took a picture of her holding up this piece of paper that said, "I am an atheist," with the Kaaba in the background.
Yeah.
Don't get that piece of paper on you.
I feel
Balls.
like we go to a Klan rally with a fire extinguisher.
You're right.
Wow,
Yeah, so I'm very, very impressed with how brave they are.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing. So have you ever had an encounter with Ken Ham? I was just watching
I stood next
the
to
art
him
guy?
once. He knew who I was.
No, well, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, they were filming a documentary, and we're walking along with the cameras, and he's talking with Bill Nye, and I was on the other side of him. And at some point, he turned and saw me, and you can tell exactly where it is when he turns and saw me because he jumped back a little bit when he realized I was right next to him. He had the day before made some announcement to his congregation to pray for me.
Wow,
Yeah,
it must make you feel special.
yeah, and he didn't know that I was going to be in his Ark farce the very next day, and I did stand next to him for a picture once, but I didn't speak to him, and I didn't ask him for a photo. I just got close enough because there's no love lost there. He's a crook, in one respect or another. I mean, he's definitely a fraud, even though he hasn't been convicted like that other guy, inmate number. Yeah, I'm not going to bother. But,
Yeah,
but a lot of these people, they will say things that that they know is not true. You can prove that they know that whatever they said is not true, and that they knew that whatever they said is not true, but they're going to say it anyway because it makes them millions of dollars, and it keeps them from having to have a real job.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's all a con. Once you hit a certain level.
yeah. I wish I could just believe in it, because I feel like if I could just believe, I would be an amazing preacher. Just up there, just like
we talked-
You
Sam
don't have
Kinison.
to believe. Look at Marjo Gortner. Marjo Gortner made a mint. He was a preacher at like 8 years old, and he grew up, and at some point in his 20s, he hired a documentary film crew to come on his evangelical crusade on all these tent revivals. And he would go out, he would tell the camera crew exactly how he's going to mislead this audience to get their money from them. And then he would have them film him going out into the crowd to do exactly that. He exposed himself as a fraud on purpose because he was sick of the game.
Wow.
Well,
was
exactly.
brilliant.
Because we've talked about like when we talk about cults and stuff, but you got to kind of believe and drink the Kool-Aid, and that's my thing. Because guilt, at the end of the day,
Yeah,
I would be able to
I
sleep.
feel guilty. Yeah,
and I would just feel bad.
I would have a hard time just like giving people something that I don't have anything invested in.
Right. But I like the thought of just telling Cameron that this is what I'm going to do. Watch, make a YouTube channel of it and rationalize why I'm taking his money. Maybe we'll try that next season.
Yeah, but I was getting to the so I was watching the Bill Nye campaign debate, and I noticed like how the creationists are kind of bending science to match things in the Bible to try and explain some of these things, and I don't know like how are they getting away with like. Are people just so like layman that they hear what he says and say, "Oh, that makes sense. That must be true because he's saying," kind of thing?
I am at a loss, but I know that people don't. We have a tendency to think that other people are like us, and it's hard to remember that they're not. That I was surprised to find that if I were to ask somebody, I used to think that if I were to ask somebody, why do you believe X? They would give me a reason. The reason would be valid and would be indicative of X. And I was very surprised to find out that not only did they not have a valid reason, they very often had no reason at all other than, I believe this because I want to.
Right.
And that's really it. And I've had several people admit to me that they were going to continue to believe what they want to believe, even if they knew it wasn't true, they're going to believe it anyway. And a couple of times I've already been told that they know it's not true. They're going to believe it anyway. And they already know better.
We had 4 years.
One of my best and oldest friends said, I'm a Christian because I like to believe that, not because I think it's true.
Yeah, reason to be an asshole. Like, I'll go pray it off as best as we can with you.
Yeah. I remember telling my dad, like, I don't believe in God, and he said, well, what happens if you die? What if someone comes up to you and shoots you in the head right now? You just fucking die. You go nowhere. It doesn't hurt to believe, son. Just why don't you just believe? And if it turns out it's true, you're good. If it's not, then you're where you're starting.
If it turns out it's true, okay. If Islam turns out to be true, then every Christian is going to hell.
Well, yeah, 100%. And it's one of those things too. If it is true, that's something I'm willing to take the risk on at the end. Because it's okay to believe and it's okay not to believe. It's okay to live your life if you want to believe like Christianity. Well, God created us to be fruitful and multiply and live our life to the best of its ability. On our own, we have free will for a reason. But that doesn't compute either. And so if you exercise your free will, it's blasphemy, which is not correct. And so
then free will is another thing. Christians argue that their whole purpose is free will, but their book doesn't allow it. God already knows everything you're going to do before you do it. Before he created you, he knew every decision you were going to make. He can prophesy. He can tell exactly what's going to happen in the future.
The whole creation of the devil.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that you've got millions and millions. You got millions and millions of interactions going on in the future, and any one of these things, any change in any of that could change how the future is significantly. But God already knows everything that's going to happen. God knows if you're going to pray to him. He knows what you're going to pray for, and he already knows whether he's going to answer that prayer. So what's the prayer for?
Right. Yeah. It's like having the movie play out and you've seen the ending.
Right.
You know, it's there's a destiny, it's predestination, and so if everything's already been decided, there is no free will because it's already there.
Well, we have free will to the extent that when Frankenfurter said, "Wait, I could explain." Remember how the audience yells, "Better be good, it got you killed last week."
Right. So I had noticed that you said you were a gosh, I can't remember you were into some of the Nordic religions when you were younger in your 20s, or
No, I was never a big fan of mythology, so I can't say that I was asatru.
okay.
But I was into. I mean, I have Norse ancestry that I'm proud of. I used to do LARPing, and my character was a 10th century Viking, so I really glommed onto that part of my heritage. But I was a neo-pagan occultist for a while after my one afternoon as a reborn Christian. And yeah, and so yeah, it took me a couple of years to get out of that and realize that it doesn't matter what faith it is. Faith is the problem.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I struggled with mainly because my religion was coming from the white side of my family, which was extremely racist. So I struggled a lot with that. I remember I left and I was Buddhist for a while, and then I looked into like Sikh and all these other different religions, and then I remember the guilt of Catholicism would never go away. And so I was trying to what is the problem? And I remember I ran across a female Buddhist monk when I was in Oklahoma City. I asked how
Did I hear you right? Did you say a female Buddhist monk?
Yes, which caught me off guard at the beginning.
Well, it catches me off guard. I was married in a Theravada temple, and my wife made the arrangements with the the guy in the saffron robes and everything. She tried to shake his hand to clear the deal, and he backed away with arms out extended because it was a sin to touch a woman.
Right, and so, and it was one of those like, so I wanted to talk to her, and I was walking to her, and like one because she was female, I'd never seen since or before. I just asked her like, how did you struggle? Because she was white as the Steve. I came out wrong, but
Okay.
clearly a white individual was not raised in the Buddhist world and just had converted at some point. And I just asked her, and she's like, "You just got to let go."
So she was at a monastery. She was a monastic.
No, she was coming to eat. I worked at a Thai restaurant, and she was coming to eat at the restaurant. But she was friends with the owners of the restaurant, and they were Buddhists.
Okay, so she washed dishes or something.
No, she was coming there to eat. Wow. She was having dinner. And she went back to the little shrine and did something there. And then when she came back, I spoke to her. I was like, this is a struggle I had. I was raised this way. This, and this. I still struggle with the guilt of Catholicism. And just feel like I'm walking a bad path and all that stuff because it was so ingrained. This was before the internet and all that stuff. It was just the only real books that you had were still, they just, solidified the Christian belief system and all that stuff. And she was like, you just gotta let go.
Right.
I was like, it's that simple. She's like, yeah, just let go. And when I did, life got better. Like, this is a weird, long way to get to the whole point of what I was saying. But she was, just let go. But the guilt, like you said, you move from place to place and you realize faith was the problem. I was believing that something was out there, and that was the problem because nothing was showing me anything. There was no empirical proof of anything to hold me to that belief system other than my own self. So.
Yeah, because once you get into the groove of believing things with having absolutely no proof or no evidence, or just believe this because we tell you to, that sets you up to believe in a whole lot. I mean, it just sets you up to accept things that people tell you without seeing any evidence.
Oh yeah, we believed in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and all that stuff for how long, and then you find out at no point did you get upset and question anything else, which you found out Santa Claus wasn't real. But up until you believed that a man came down your chimney and gave you all these gifts and was amazing, and having to know everything about you, but then when you found out that it wasn't, you still didn't question your parents and your family believing in Christianity or of God and all that stuff. It's weird how it has such a hold on you for such a long time, even when you know that they've lied to you before.
Right.
Other things.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just I've become just so skeptical, just of everything. Everything I hear, I question it because I wonder, like, everybody's an expert these days. Everybody pretends to be an expert. Everybody's a Google professor, and just
Oh yeah.
So it's like I was wondering, like, yeah, where did you hear that? Where did you read that? I mean, yeah, you found it on the internet, but from where? I mean, if you found it on somebody's blog, does that mean it's true? Probably not. So I always question everything in that. Look at that face. That's hilarious.
But you're in the come from a Christian world. Your belief is that people aren't going to lie to you, and so it's easy to be fooled and duped into other things because you've had so much faith, for lack of a better thing, but you have so much faith in other people that are presenting you with things that, well, must be true because they told us. Why would they lie to you? But once you start questioning things, life is better. Did he freeze too? No, there it goes.
There we go. I don't know why I was doing that today.
It's all this gentleman's fault.
Yep. You can blame me.
I'm not going to blame Jenny.
Yeah, the rain noise keeps coming back and going away too.
Okay. Well,
Resetting everything.
echo cancellation is on. Okay.
This is the first episode of the season. We switched our setup a little bit, so we apologize.
Yeah. We tried to test last night and get out any kinks, and we had no problems last night. Zero.
Did you have somebody on this end of the mic?
No. Yeah. No, we did not.
What happens? We get together and we just waste time. We were here till long after midnight. We started
2 in the morning.
Yeah. And so Jenny was supposed to be tech support, but
Is Jenny the one at the end of the table there?
Yeah, she's just been sitting there quietly.
I'm learning.
You're learning. What are you learning?
yes, do tell.
All sorts of stuff. Do you have any questions? Anything you want to say to Mr. Ron?
You're so
She
far
needs
away.
to turn her mic up if she does.
You want to put his
Speaking
volume up?
already good. Talk. Can you hear that? That's weird. Try that.
Okay.
Say something.
Yes.
Is that better?
I can't hear a word.
That sound?
No, she's not talking.
I am talking.
Okay. You can't hear her at all?
Not a bit.
Weird. That's super weird.
Yeah, she's on 3. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
No clue.
Yeah, we need to get an Indian tech support next time.
Yeah.
We'll remedy that for the next time. That is weird.
So you had mentioned that you have 2 sons. When you were bringing them up, did you give them the opportunity to choose to believe in something, or did you immediately tell them, like, this is what the most likely scenario is?
Well, I have to tell you that I didn't realize that I was an atheist because I've been lied to about what an atheist is. You understand? I've been told all kinds of terrible things about that atheism is this completely unreasonable position, that an atheist is someone who knows there is no God, that an atheist is one who has a positive belief that there is no God, and that if you simply don't believe in God, well, then you're agnostic. And so I would listen to that lie so I identified as an agnostic pagan for Christ for a number of years before I realized what the hell an atheist really is and what Christ was all about, and a number of other things. I hadn't been, like most Americans, I hadn't done any research in the area. So back in the stage of that ignorance, my daughter, when she was about 7 or 8 years old, asked me, Daddy, which is the right religion? Same thing I asked my mother when I was 5 to 8 years old. And I remember my mother saying, oh, well, ours is, of course. And I remember as soon as she said that, I thought, of course she would say that. Why would she? Oh, I'm worshiping the wrong religion. It's these other people that have it right. Well, of course they're going to think that. So my daughter asked this question, and I knew the problem with the answer. And so I said, none of them are right. Everyone is wrong, even me. And she said, I don't like that answer. And I said, I'm sorry, but that's the right answer. And amusingly, it was the right answer because that was when I was still in my neo-pagan stage. Okay. That was before I realized that I wasn't yet a philosophical naturalist. I still thought there were some supernatural things. And it took me a number of years to realize that everything that I believed in, everything that I was told that there was evidence for, telekinesis, psionics, empathy, astral projection, everything. There was no evidence of any of it. You don't have to prove that it's wrong. It's enough that there's nothing to show that it's right. If you can't show the truth of it, then you can't honestly say there is any truth of it. So that and then we're done. So when I told my daughter that all of the religions are wrong, including me, that was a correct statement because I was wrong at that time and didn't realize it yet. And later, I remember my son. I would leave my son with my mother, when I would go to work, and she would watch him during the day. And I'd come home and pick him up, and he. I remember he wanted to ask me a question. He wanted to make sure there was no one that was in earshot. And that's important to note, that he wants to make sure no one can hear the question he's about to ask me. He says, "Dad, how does God just make stuff?"
Right.
And I knew that he was asking a different question. It was going to require a very different answer, and it was going to require a definite answer. And I leaned in real close, and I said, "He didn't." And I could see a wave of relief wash over my son as the universe made sense again.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. 'Cause he saw it too. He just confirmed, or not that he saw, he didn't see it. But he just confirmed the fact that, okay, I'm not crazy.
Yeah. So I let my daughter do her own little exploration based on the question that she asked. She is now an atheist, and I told my son that, if just flat out on another conversation later, that here's the problem that I have is there's no evidence for this. People will tell you all kinds of shit like it's true, but the only things that are true are the things that you can show to be true. If you can't show me the truth of it, there's no truth of it. We're done.
Right.
And so that's where they are.
And
all my kids now, even the ones I didn't have that conversation with, because I have 3 other children that I never had that conversation with, and they're all atheists now, all on their own devices, all in their own way.
That's how it should be. Let them find their own truth versus being forced like Christianity.
One of them did the speaking in tongues thing as a child. Yeah, and eventually came away realizing that this is all grown-ups behaving like children, grown-ups playing pretend. That it's not like, it's like, you want to say that having a personal relationship with Jesus is like having a magic imaginary friend, except that it is exactly that. 100%. It's not like an imaginary friend. It is an imaginary friend for grown-ups. There is no difference. Jesus and Santa Claus have an awful lot more in common than Jesus and, say, Thomas Jefferson.
Right. Sure.
Jesus has more in common with Santa Claus than he has with Dracula. Because Dracula has more basis in truth than Jesus does.
Yeah, it's true.
And so does Robin Hood and King Arthur.
Yeah. And it's amazing that people are just, I don't know. It's frustrating because I don't even like to talk about my beliefs because I don't want to get trapped in well, what do you think happens when you die? Well, and then they kind of just give you that snooty, look, and then all of a sudden they don't. It's just, I don't like people like that, and I don't like to find out people are like that because then it's going to change the way I even view them, and I might not even hang out with them ever again because of that.
Sometimes you'll watch a video that's talking about the science of a particular subject, and they will reference a number of, let's say, geologists or biologists or paleontologists or whatever the topic is, right? And so they'll talk about what all of these scientists think. They won't give you the reasons why the scientists have come to this conclusion, and that's important. That's what matters more than the authority is. Why do they think this? Is because when you find out what the reasons are, well, then you're completely on board. You know why they believe this. But they'll give you this video where they talk about the scientists and they'll say what the scientists think. And then they come to the end of the video and they say, but what do you think? Who cares what you think? Right?
That's why you came here.
Yeah, you flip burgers at a hamburger place. What the fuck do you know about paleontology or physics or fuck all? What do you know about the science that they're talking about? We don't care what you believe. All that matters is why you believe it. That's it.
100%. That's a really good way to put it.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I've lost a lot of friends having conversations and things like that. They gotta find another way. And some of them will come around. Some just choose not to, and that's okay. It's okay for you to believe in what you want to believe in. That is not the path that I want.
Right.
We all got to live this life, and as long as you go to bed at night, you're okay with that. What do you think?
Yeah, and I also found that that politics, because obviously in this last administration, politics came to the forefront of the religious argument, because there's very little difference between religion and politics. As a matter of fact, politics is far less rational than religion is.
Oh, we got a Trump supporter right here. Just like you telling them.
Yeah, so we get into that, and you talk about losing friends and family.
Oh, yeah.
My friends and family are all religious. I have a cousin who's atheist, but I mean everybody else in the whole family. I might have 2 cousins that are atheists. Everybody else is religious, and they could all accept that I didn't believe in their God. But when I didn't bow down to their dear leader, that's when they cut off all ties.
Right? Isn't it crazy? All my parents and grandparents are dead, so I don't have to worry about that. But they definitely would have been Trump. Except for my dad. They definitely would have been Trump supporters, so I didn't have to pay for that too.
Yeah, I have to lie to my grandma. and tell her I'm a Trump fan. Yeah, it's nuts. And one thing I wanted to get your opinion on, which is something has always fascinated me with a lot of these, wealthy CEOs and right-wing conservatives, is Bohemian Grove. I want to know what you know about Bohemian Grove.
Bohemian Growth?
Grove. It's where all these.
Grove.
Have you ever heard of Bohemian Grove?
I have not.
Oh, so it's a really mysterious thing, and so like all these right wing, successful people, they're notorious for the right wingers. I don't know if it's exclusively right wingers, but they have a lot of senators, a lot of wealthy businessmen who go to this place in the Redwood Forest in California. It's called Bohemian Grove, and they gather there in secret. They wear robes. There's like a large owl deity. There's a ceremony, and it's really bizarre. It's super secretive. And it's like, I've always wanted to know what the hell is going on there. Why are they there? What is the owl for? Who are they worshiping?
Just pictures and stuff of this, or you just
Yeah. No, it's
conspiracy
legit. It's legit. I'm telling you, you got to look it up, man.
I think Eyes Wide Shut was based in part on that.
Yeah, that's a terrific movie.
Yeah, that's one that's hard to explain to people who watch it. Well, I'm sure those societies exist. I've been in some crazy shit in my life, but I'm sure they exist.
I'm telling you, Bohemian.
You have Jeffrey Epstein. All of a sudden, no one knew who he was, and then soon found out who he was. Like, holy shit, he was into some good shit.
And now we'll never know because he killed himself.
Right. Yeah.
Right after turn the cameras off.
Right. Yeah. Right after the guards took an unscheduled break and turned the cameras off.
You guys go in the other room and hit that switch for me, please. I got to take care of something.
You know I can't poop with you guys watching.
Or breathe.
Or breathe. Yeah. Exactly.
What?
Yeah, we're coming right up on about an hour here.
I want to respect your. You got to clean that and dust that house behind you. So.
Yeah, that massive mansion back there.
Yeah, that's it. 5 stories.
Easy.
Well, yeah, we really appreciate you coming on. This was really something I'm really glad that I was able to achieve with you. I didn't actually. I remember the email I wrote you was probably 10 pages long because I was like, I gotta convince this guy. I gotta sell him. I gotta get him to really believe in us. And you're like, yep, okay. Oh, great.
I'm not reading this shit. Let's say yes.
Yeah, so I really appreciate you coming on. Maybe again in the future down the line we could work together again and talk some more because I find your intellect, refreshing, educational, and I just enjoy hearing you speak.
Well, thank you very much. Be sure to fix her mic.
Oh,
yeah, 100%.
Say something?
Can you hear me now?
I heard that, sort of.
Okay.
Sort of.
Well, that wasn't plugged in, so I'm wondering if the cable is.
Yeah, we might need a different XLR.
And we don't listen to it anyway. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. It was the first show, but thank you for being on the show. Thank you for having an actual podcast setup because that is such a relief.
Yes.
Because we've had people come on and
Just talking on their cell phone is horrible.
yeah, one lady, she was at a dog park.
Yeah, she was at the dog park for the podcast interview. Dogs barking.
On Wi-Fi.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I
Like
have
public
3
Wi-Fi.
dogs here, and they usually go off. So you guys are lucky that we didn't have that interruption, because for the last year, my Great Pyrenees has interrupted like every interview I've ever done.
Wow.
So we appreciate it. And respond in an email with the links like to your book and all that stuff and the information you want us to put in the description when we
Yeah, we're
we're
happy.
streaming live
Yeah.
now, but I'll redo the description and I'll also break it down to an audio version and we'll send you links to all that stuff. But if you send it like to your book and any information that you want out there, pass that on.
Okay.
All
All right.
right.
Well, thank you much, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll talk to you again here in the future.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bless.
God bless you. Right.
Bye. Good episode. Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, because it was like, oh, I feel like I need to say something.
Yeah, we hear
We're
you.
coming into here, but I don't understand. Oh, let me listen to this. Once this switches over, I'll listen to this.
I don't know. Your interconnect cables are weird, man. Like this one screws in a little bit. It's kind of wonky.
Okay, but that shouldn't.
I
It's
don't
still
know.
coming in stereo. It should-
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I think you need
See,
to.
now all of a sudden he's want to blame me for shit, even though.
It's because you get this weird Chinese shit. You know.
Wow.
You gotta get you if you buy, you gotta get from fucking Taiwan. We all know this. Taiwanese.
First of all, she couldn't even remember her laptop, let alone bring
Yeah,
a mixer from back home.
she's Thai, not Taiwan. Okay, there's a difference.
Is there really? Oh, then she-
You're supposed to be the doctor.
Yeah, the Mr. Zoology, breaking it down, the subgenus.
No, because it was that's how the story or the class started. But I want to listen to see you told me. I guess we keep that. I want to see if I can.
It's because you get this weird Chinese shit. You know? Wow. You gotta get if you. We're so good. We watch instant replays on our own podcast. Taiwanese. Right after it happens.
Yeah, I can hear her.
It must have been just maybe a internet connection thing. It'll probably be better once we're wired. Once we're jacked in.
Yeah, if somebody was supposed to bring a cable. he
Yeah, I
did
fucked
not.
up. I fucked up.
He did.
He's carrying out like these cords and then like this huge table.
Just that.
Yeah, I was like, I was struggling, and I like, can you open the door? And she's just like on her phone.
Oh, and I had 7 things I needed to bring, and I made a list before I left, and that's why all my stuff is here.
There you go.
So-
You gotta make lists.
It only froze a couple of times, so that was good. Wasn't that bad? And we don't know if we have any comments because Jenny didn't bring her laptop, but I'm assuming we were.
I can see if there's comments. I have glasses on.
I had like 4 or 5 watches. But we were getting ready to go out tonight and have to
I don't give a fuck about you.
What's that? It's like the 5 o'clock is everything. Or 4 or 5.
Party night with your mom.
My mom's dead. Why do you?
Talk about her mom. You know I don't like white
My
women.
mom doesn't party. She doesn't like
She didn't let Steve touch her, so that.
Yeah, she gets really angry.
It's because she's a pleasure delayer, okay? She wanted me to wait until she couldn't handle it anymore so I could get her along and make her climax
Oh.
that much
She's
faster.
playing the long game.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah, she's playing the long game. You know what I mean?
I don't even think Jenny knows.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, that was definitely probably the best guest of the season for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had a good setup. He had knowledge. You know, it's good to talk to people who are educated and like to engage and actually, you know, believe in what they're talking about. Not just like,
Yeah, he was.
well, I
present the whole time.
like to do a raw diet. I drink raw milk. Actually, sometimes I eat raw hamburger. But
and don't know shit
No,
about
until
it.
it's green.
Yeah.
yeah, what the fuck, motherfucker? Actually, here in Canada, we get a lot of acting jobs, but I had this thing with my back, and the doctors didn't believe me, so I had to provide my own
Man, I
research.
figured she was gonna bust us down with some
I know
education.
this week.
I hope.
Yeah, that's the last. That's the last person who's tuning in.
The 4 people that watch it, 3 of them are them. Like,
That'd be hilarious.
oh, that would be awesome. So we can bring him back. I'll let anybody to come back in and defend yourself. We had a shitty interview, and you felt that we misunderstood you.
To like really find out what her, relationship. But
Yeah, that's the only reason. 'Cause I remember when,
that's the juicy part.
yeah,
Not eating pie.
she avoided that at all costs.
What was that?
She was
The
in the
Primal
same-
Diet chick was in the same or in a relationship with a.
Oh, a tranny. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Oh, I guess you can't say tranny anymore. Hopefully anyone's not fucking transgender. You can't say tranny. I mean,
there was a time you couldn't say preemie, but now that's
what the fuck's a
raised,
preemie?
a premature baby. But saying calling it a preemie
You
when I
don't
was,
get offensive?
but no, when I was a kid, if you called it a preemie, it was like that was offensive. I'm like,
Oh yeah, to me that just makes me like. I would assume you're talking about a premature ejaculate.
but it sounds cuter. Preemie sounds cuter.
That's
Like, oh,
Yeah, I guess it's cute to come quick.
Because me and Jenny were texting like, oh yeah, Steve's my little preemie.
Ow! Oh, that's cute.
That's what you need to call it from now on.
Preemie?
Yeah, premature ejaculation. Oh, we're preemie. I love your face. They can't. Is it just training?
You're not supposed to train. I don't know why. It's offensive, apparently. I don't know any transgenders, so I can't speak to why it's offensive.
Okay, but it shouldn't be offensive because transgender training makes sense leading into it, versus saying other words that mean homosexual.
Yeah, that's, I don't know.
Because it goes back to like I always like when I say Mexican, I always feel like a curse word. What happened? Oh, see? Okay, there you go. Are you sharing the screen? Are we gonna read this together?
Yeah, I'll share the.
Derogatory term.
Oh. Who made that? I didn't get invited to that meeting.
With a
So
people.
according, we need to go down and click on the. What the heck are you doing?
Oopsie. I'm sharing the wrong fucking display.
One guy. You came up here for hours last night and do it.
There we go.
But see, I wouldn't have spelled it with the IE though either. That's interesting that. So training or training
That's good enough.
is a derogatory term for a transgender, transsexual, transvestite, or cross-dressing person, and often considered to be a slur. Boy, isn't that what derogatory term means? Where you going? You're not gonna click on the.
I'm gonna look at. I'm just gonna click this motherfucker. Okay. Hey, I'm driving the fucking car here. I don't need any backseat fucking drivers.
So what do you call them then? I mean, I think you're, talking about.
But see, it's one of those things.
You call him fucking Caitlyn Jenner or Bruce Jenner or whatever the fuck they want to be called.
Okay, but you look at it. If I
That
say,
is worse.
if you say tranny, we
Right,
don't
right.
need to specify transgender, trans.
Well, I would ask automatic or manual.
Right.
Okay, so tranny.
Which one are you? Transvestite?
Yeah, transgender. What's the difference?
All right, so
Even
tranny was
maybe
originally a
just
term
Transylvania.
used by transgendered people to refer to themselves. However, over time, it started to be used differently by people who did not consider themselves transgender to refer to transgender people pejoratively. As a result, it is now normally considered a slur and to be offensive, but some people who adopted the tranny identity in the past still use it. Others have attempted to reappropriate the term by describing themselves positively. It is strongly recommended that you do not use the word tranny to describe other people unless you are absolutely sure they are happy for you to do so and that other people around you will not be upset by it. Man, we are in a fucking politically correct fucking
Okay.
culture, dude.
First of all, if I walk up to you and you're clearly transsexual, what's that? We need to look up the difference between transsexual and transgender. I'm now confused because training was a blanket term. Now we got to be more specific. And so if I come up to you and be like, "Excuse me, Stephanie, does it offend you for me to call you a tranny?" And if if you're walking around thinking that you're passing for a woman, and I just called you out, I've created a whole different.
That's why you just don't say it.
Yeah,
Just
but
look away. Walk away.
it's like real fucking awkward. I don't want to offend you, Shim. Right? I don't know if he's Oh, and you?
Are there hermaphrodites out there?
I don't know. I've never seen a. Yeah, same. It's not something I've ever like went down into. I know that there are. Not having both organs, but you can have some of both, like having Penis and a vagina, no. But there are people who have like they will develop a penis, but they'll develop ovaries versus sex. Because the only difference is one goes up and one goes down. Like I call them ovaries and ovaries. Because like it's depending on the direction they go. So I've known people who, or I've heard of people that I've known that have had the sex change, but they were also had a womb and everything underneath all that because it just something happened. But to have like a full set of testicles and a penis and a vagina, I don't think that's.
I wonder if you could just like if you get spit on it and like bend it and then stick it in yourself, and then let it get hard and then it'll flop out. Maybe not. All right, transvestite, transsexual, transgender. What is
Hold on, we
okay?
gotta stop. Hold on. Stop. Why are you stomping? The whole interview with
Oh,
Aaron.
it's starting to just cat. I'm just. I'm just.
Where the fuck is he going? Like,
I don't know. It's just.
down.
It's just something I fucking do. Can you feel it?
Yeah.
Oh,
you
fuck,
hear it,
my bad.
too.
All right, so all right, all right. While legal and other discrimination again, blah 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 blah. Blah, what about oh motherfucker? What's the
What are you
difference?
looking at?
The difference between the three T's.
That's why you go to Wiki. All this is what you were doing all this time. You could just click
What are
on
you on?
Wikipedia. Go back to the transgender. Go to the training Wikipedia because not only can you go Wikipedia people the page, but you can go to the resources or the site citations will give you for real stuff. So here we go. So now we can click on transsexual and see where transsexual.
All right, some transgender people who desire medical assistance to transition from one sex to another identify as transsexual.
Oh, okay.
All right, so if you're transgender, that means you're a man but identify as a woman, but you still have a dick and balls. If you're transsexual,
Got you.
you're a man who identifies as a woman, but now you have reconstructed pussy. Okay.
We could have kept it as vagina. Yeah, but make it a lot
It's my inner James Bond.
Okay. Never.
Hello, Pusha.
Octopus.
Hello, Pusha. Pusha galore. Come on now. Get with it.
Okay, so, but then what's the, so let's go to the term.
Where I want to see where's transvestite at.
That's what. Yeah.
Is that where they process?
That's drag, honey.
Oh,
Well, that would be we talked about cross-dressing. Opposite transvestism.
Oh, you might be right, honey.
Oh, Asian education.
A transvestite is a person who cross-dresses or dresses in clothes typically associated with the gender opposite the way they were assigned at birth. The term transvestite is used as a synonym for the term cross-dresser. You were fucking dead on. My bad. Oh, that's what I get for being a know-it-all. Although cross-dresser, yeah, all those lady boys. God, you know, when we first met, I was worried about her having a dick. I was just thinking, what if I get her back to my place and she has a dick? What do I do? Do I kick her out?
Okay, so let's sorry for let's discuss this because Jenny's an attractive girl, right?
Yeah, I've seen a lot. Have you
Babies don't age.
have you
right?
seen some of these lady boys? They look like primo women.
Right. But I'm saying, so you guys met on the internet,
Yeah.
came here, partied, she got you to drink, which we already know from past episodes. So right then, that would have been my clue, like, oh, she's trying to get me drunk.
Well, that we didn't drink. We didn't
Yeah,
drink. We didn't drink for a few days.
I'm just trying to fuck you, Steve.
We didn't drink for a few days. And my main concern, like,
Did you have
Was-
sex the first night?
yeah, but I was, yeah, that's what I. Well, see,
God.
the thing is,
That is so private.
honey, shut up. So
Not
We were
anymore.
talking for like months.
yes,
before.
yeah, we
Right,
were-
so it's not like you just,
Yeah, just talking.
yeah, she,
I'm not a total whore,
it's
Jeremy.
not like you just got her out of the shipping container and took her right back to your bed.
His roommate was sleeping in the same room as us.
Okay, so
Okay,
my
we
main
can-
my
we
main
can talk about
concern
that.
my main concern was I was staying at a dorm that was 5 hours away from the airport. My worry was if I got her back and she had a penis, I'm gonna have to fucking just let her chill there, or him.
That was your concern?
Well, well, yeah. What am I gonna do?
Because I had a low voice.
Well, because what am I gonna do? Like, because like I don't want to hang out with you just because you've deceived me. It's like, what are we gonna do for the
You
time?
pay for your own ticket.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just thinking, what are we gonna do in the meantime while we wait on your fucking plane?
How
You're
long
gonna have
is
to
she in
stay
town?
like 4 days.
Okay, that's your own fucking fault to think that I'm gonna bring her. I'm gonna import her for 4 days. You should have thought about the dick prior to making those plans.
Well, there wasn't a dick, but it was just one of those.
Okay, well, we don't know this yet because the thought was there. As she says, the deep voice, and you talked on the phone like, man, we've been talking for months. You know,
Apparently I sounded like a boy.
But she had a deeper voice than I was
she
accustomed.
didn't send you any vagina picture. Well, guess you could have.
Oh, okay,
You could have sent anything. You could have sent your sister's vagina.
yeah, that's true. I could
So,
snap
Can you still?
on my sister's vagina.
Do you have some like saved somewhere?
What? Of her sister?
Oh yeah, I was just wondering. Like she just has like, a back catalog of Sister Pussy 2015, Sister Pussy
Well,
2012.
no, because if she's trans.
If so, I'm upset that you've been holding out on me.
Okay, so are we thinking she's transsexual or transvestite at this point?
I don't
Is she
know.
just cross dressing?
Well, yeah, I guess she would be just crazy.
Still up as,
If she was a man-
yeah.
Okay, so if she was a man, she would have just been a transvestite, a cross-dresser, just a man appearing to be a woman.
Right. This is still up on the.
Could be transgender though.
Okay, so
Well, I'm telling you, my fucking shit's live, bro. So
but I'm saying, okay, so your fear is that she has a penis, but are you? Because she may identify as a female, and therefore,
that would be transgender.
right. So that's what I'm saying. Are we thinking she's transgender? Okay, sorry, she
She does have
transgender, or is she cross dressing as a transvestite? That's we need to be
Yeah,
clear.
yeah. So if she was just cross-dressing, that means she was a man who enjoyed dressing like a woman, but still identified as a man. I didn't think.
Okay,
that.
so she's
Still
coming.
have
She's coming in because she wants to make you a bottom, versus she wants you to love her as a woman. Okay, now we're thinking it's a dude. We're thinking Jenny's a dude. Well, we're not sure, but just in case. So now you pick her up from the airport because you have to drive 5 hours from your dorm, right?
Yeah.
And so why do we take her back to a dorm instead of getting a hotel just in case?
Well, see, the thing is,
Because now your roommate's going to find out
I paid my roommate.
the moment she pulls her dick out.
I paid my roommate to go somewhere else for that. I said, I'll give you $30. Go sleep in someone else's dorm room. I want the room. I get back.
Yeah.
It's like 2 a.m.
10 years ago, that same $30 could have been a hotel room out by the airport, or at least on Colfax.
Yeah, but I don't know. For some reason I want to go back to the dorm. So
Just in
You
case,
know
you
why.
had, just in case you had to kill her because she pulled a dick out. You pull out a dick, you're
You
dead in
wanted
the
to see if
mountains.
I had a dick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
In
I mean-
the middle of nowhere.
yeah, I could have just dropped her off in fucking Vernal, Utah, and she would have been fucking wrapped up in barbed wire fence in no time.
Yeah.
Whoa, easy, fucking A, man. But so I paid him. His name was Frank. I don't remember his last name. Otherwise, I would drop his name because he's a bitch. But
We need to call him up because I would love to have that conversation.
Right?
Frank,
Is that his real name?
yeah, fuck yeah, it's his real name. But
So there was gonna be a Frank in your room that night, no matter what.
Yeah. Even
so she doesn't eat hot dogs. She doesn't get it. But so when we get back, it's like 2 a.m. I picked her up from the airport at like 7. I stopped to buy weed, and then we went back.
Condoms for each of you.
No, fuck that. If I'm gonna go raw, I'm gonna go raw.
I'm saying for her.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a special that is a very special fear of reaching down a woman's pants and touching a flaccid penis.
Or maybe it's not plastic.
Yeah.
Can't tuck a hard
You
dick,
guys
honey.
have been talking for months. It's going to be at least jumped up. Anyway. But why is that a real fear? Because it seems to me that that's happened before. That's
No, it's never happened to me, but it's just like that. It's not like something I worry about, but like if that were to happen to me, that would scar me mentally,
Okay, so now-
It
emotionally.
would be the first
Okay,
thing.
so now we're in. Where were you living? What was in the dorm?
What?
5 hours away. What were you?
Rangeley.
Very
Very
still in Colorado.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes away from Utah border.
Okay, so now we're here. Frank is in the room. You still don't know there's a dick in the box.
Oh no, I know by this point that there's not.
How do you know that?
Yeah, we stopped to buy weed in the car. We had a minute alone in the car.
Okay. Sorry.
So now I know why.
So yeah, that's why. See, that's so.
Well, yeah, I needed to find out so I could just drop her back
Yeah, I
off.
had no clue what was going on.
Right.
It was happening the whole time.
Well, I mean, I needed to buy weed, but it was also a good opportunity just to double check.
Hey,
Check my package.
Exactly.
just walk up and grab it.
I mean,
Here,
no.
put this in your pocket. And just, you just shoved your hand down in her jeans and moved it around until you didn't find anything.
I mean, can you imagine, like, you're out on a date with a woman and then you go to move to second base and you just reach and you grab a sack of testicles when you're expecting not testicles?
How do you react? Do you react?
Well, that's where
I don't know, I don't know, 'cause, I mean-
he's trying to take away the conversation. So now we're,
I try to
Yes.
imagine it like that Pierce Brosnan movie where he meets that, that whatever person.
you know what he's talking about? Because two people in this room don't watch those type of movies.
You've never seen that movie?
No, and neither has Jenny. You know why? Because that's not. That's why I don't worry about reaching down and grabbing a dick, because I don't put that in my universe.
What's that movie? It's
Boys Don't Cry.
Boys Don't Cry. Yeah, with that Tina Brandon, Hillary Swank, but
Yes.
Tina Brandon was the character. She's from Nebraska. James Bond. Pierce Brosnan. So anyway, what do you do? So now, like, hey, I'm gonna buy you some weed
I buy my.
if you show me your genitals.
There was no fucking like.
And Jay's like,
Agreement.
I thought you never.
I'm going to
asked.
give you weed to see if you have a penis.
But I'm saying, how did you? Okay, I'm trying to figure out how you verify it.
Yeah, I don't want to go into too much detail. I verified. I was suave about it. Okay, that's all you need to know.
All right, I'll leave it alone. So, had you been during your swab, this whole Rico swab deal, as you're bumping and grinding or doing whatever you're doing, had you felt a penis or testicles? Now what? Because you've been talking for months. She flew all the way over here. Roommate's supposed to be gone for. You spent $30 for the roommate, baby. You spent how much on weed? Not to mention gas to come pick her up.
I don't know what I would do. That's what I was trying to figure out. Like, do I bring her back to the dorm or do I just bring her back to the airport?
What if I had big boobs? Would that?
Yeah, how big your boobs got to be in order to get past a dick?
I think I debated that. Like, if I didn't see it or touch it, could I still just ignore it?
Or how big of a dick are you interested in if she had a little boob? I didn't go either way because I don't know what you're into.
I'm not interested in any size penis. I don't give a fuck how big it is. I don't.
So you just would have dogged her out, left her in fucking Colorado for 4 days,
Bro,
or would you have hung out in your dorm? Made it real awkward for Friday.
maybe I would have seen if Frank wanted a piece.
That's nice. That's a good wingman.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank. I know you, that chick isn't talking to you anymore, but I got something like a chick over here.
Yeah. Brett, you owe me $30. You know what you can do for that $30?
Never sleep with you.
Go ahead and finish her off.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
I'm fucking pissed off.
You sure you're not thinking of Crime Game
Is that it?
with Forrest Whitaker?
No.
We were talking about Forrest Whitaker last night. I almost mentioned that, but I don't want to out myself.
See the one with the
I was
eyes?
watching. Yeah. So we were talking about why the fuck he didn't fix it.
Is he the one with eyes?
The eye.
Is that black guy that can see in 3 dimensions?
It's pretty rare.
Murphy Stroke. That's what that was about.
No.
Remington Steele's a big porn.
I'm pretty sure there's a porn actor named Remington
Big
Steele.
Little Dog, that sounds like what you're dealing with when I visited.
Yeah, 'cause I'm pretty sure had she had a dick, she'd still be.
No.
Weeds wouldn't.
No, are you fucking crazy?
Weeds never would have had this conversation.
Are you fucking
Because
crazy?
once you got over the fact that she sent you a picture of her mom's vagina, I think you'd have been like, "Well, you're here. You made the trip. We're high."
How the fuck does she get a picture of her mom's vagina?
I don't know. I'm just working my way through. And like, she sent you a picture of something. I'm assuming that's the generation we live in.
Yeah,
Young
back
whippersnappers,
then, You
yeah.
have to like take a camera.
Yeah, but didn't you
Actual
walk in?
camera.
But didn't you walk in and your dad getting fisted by your mom when you were a kid?
Yeah, I mean.
What?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, she
But he was
give it-
definitely doing something to his behind.
giving him a suppository or something.
Yeah, probably. He did it.
No, there's
I mean, yeah, either way, he needed it.
yeah, there's no
Doctor's orders.
there's no refuting that he it was consensual. Why don't you just type in Pierce Brosnan training movie?
I did, and the only thing that came up was like, there's a James Bond movie with a transgender woman in it. Not, I don't know. I can't fucking find it.
Sure, it
dude.
wasn't a James Bond movie.
Yes, it wasn't a fucking James Bond movie. Yes.
You don't know that. Okay, how do you know it's not a James Bond movie? You don't even know what movie it is. See how that works?
I know that it. I know which movies it's not. Okay. So just chill. Chill. It might be The Crying
We
Game.
need a new plan.
Okay.
Not a thing with this withering down.
The Yoga Jew Project. Okay, so Jimmy, if you guys are deep into a relationship now, if he came to you and was like, "Babe, I'm really tired of this penis. I need to go ahead and nip and tuck it, and I'll still keep the beard, but I need to lick my truth."
I don't know.
Okay,
Maybe.
fair enough.
There's a 50-50 chance. Just because, when you get older, my sex drive just comes out. So.
Right.
But I'm not going down on him. That's,
Okay. That's
that's
fair.
Yeah. That's like, mutilated.
All I saw was Fergus follows the pig to return to Bill's.
I don't remember the exact synopsis. I was like fucking 15 when I fucking saw part of it. Okay.
Okay, so when you were 15, what year was that? So you can narrow down.
No, it was an old movie. I knew it was an old movie when I saw it. It was like fucking on TV. It was on network
It's black
television.
and white.
Right.
Like they would move, and then it would freeze, and then some words come on the screen, and it would go back to them moving. With the silent film. It was old.
Maybe it was just a PowerPoint.
Probably the crime.
Yeah, it sounds.
Do you know my Jody? And then just ding because of this.
Yeah, turn on the sound or something.
Yeah, so what happens is pause it so we don't get dinged for. So what happens in this movie? Do you recognize any of that? So it's a foreign film, and he's captured by the opposition. Keeps him prisoner. He doesn't know if he's going to die or not, but all he's talking about is his girl. And so the guy, the main character,
Yeah, that's it. This is it.
yeah, we're getting Chris Brown.
I thought the main character was Chris Brown.
Oh.
See, they got an actual fucking woman to play this part.
What?
That's a woman, isn't it?
No, that's the dude who played in Stargate. That's the guy who played
I've never seen
Rob
fucking
in
Stargate.
It's the dude who played Rob in Stargate. They show his penis at the end.
Oh god, I'm glad I didn't
So
see.
the HBO
Thank
version-
God for network television. Holy shit!
Yeah, the original version. You see penis.
Well, he's a decent-looking, woman.
Oh yeah, because you're not sure because she works as a dancer.
Yeah. I like him. I like women brown, so I have a sweet. It's just my soft spot.
No, it was a good movie because like you builds up the whole because it sees the picture of it.
I didn't even know there was like a whole kidnap plot. When I saw this movie, all I thought was it's about a man who gets with a woman at a bar. Turns out it's a man, and he's really upset about it. That's what I thought the whole story was about.
No, it was even before you even meet her at the bar. There's the whole kidnapping and all that stuff, and he just sees the picture, and then he uses that as he uses that as a way to get to
What
talk
the
to her.
fuck's up with
And
the
that's-
fucking camera,
And that's where
man?
she's like, "Do you know my Jody?" And it's like all that stuff. And yeah, I knew him and this and that, blah blah. He doesn't come out and say, "Yeah, we assassinated him." He was against us. But yeah, you eventually see penis. It's quick. But then dude's like, "Well, fuck it, we're here," and that's kind of the end of the show. I've only watched it one time. Because you don't see it until towards the end, and you're like, "Oh, this is kind of a good ass movie." And oh shit, cock. And there we are. I forget. We set up a time when we keep it like 2 hours. I think it'd be a good place to start and stop. What do you think, Steve? I don't know what you're doing.
What do you want from me? What do you want from me?
When you start doing shows, we gotta do like 2 hour episodes.
An hour and a half? You want,
No. We can still go, but I'm just saying in general. Like, we try to put a time on it. I was thinking about it on the way over.
Yeah. It's better. It's better that we don't go 4 hours. I mean, because towards the end, it's just us like saying, "Well, what if my fucking balls had fucking blah, blah, blah," and then I was, "Would you suck it then?" No, we're not doing that.
Well, since you brought it up, would you prefer my balls to be shaved, or just all natural, just kind of groomed? If you had to have a
I'm not going to specify because that in itself would be homosexual, and I just don't want to.
No.
I just don't want to be. I just don't want to be like. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. I
No.
just don't want to. I don't want to be like, say one thing and you'd be like, "Well, Steve, I know how you like my balls." And I know.
What are you stomping?
Man, so I don't want to. I don't want to do that because then you're going to use it against me, no matter what answer I give.
Not.
All right, how about if my balls were in your mouth? Would you prefer them shaved,
No,
hairy,
I think that,
clean,
yeah, I would
dirty,
probably prefer them.
cheesy?
You let me answer.
I could dip them in some like that nacho cheese sauce and just
You let me answer.
wipe it across your forehead like Simba.
Why are you ignoring me? Why are you ignoring my feelings
All right, I'm
in the
sorry.
situation? I'm not even gonna entertain that with an answer now because you don't care about my answer. I was attempting to answer, but you wanted to control trying to dominate me in the conversation over my balls and or your balls. I don't appreciate
Sounds
that,
familiar.
right? And I know you can't stand being dominated for whatever reason. And that's why I think if Jenny had a dick,
Well,
If Jenny
You've
had
been
a dick,
upset.
she would not be dominating me.
right? But that's your fear. Your fear isn't the dick,
I don't have a dick myself too.
right? The fear is not the dick. The fear is being dominated with a dick. I think it'd be hard
I
for
think
you.
my fear is not being dominated, but my fear is getting to a point where like I'm so like locked into, the itinerary and what we were planning on doing, that when it gets to that point, I'm going to be talked into doing what you want because I'm a yes man. And you're like, well, just touch it. And then I won't want to, but I'll just be like, and then
That
I
makes
have to fucking touch it.
No, that makes sense because you're already invested. Because, like you said, we've been talking for months, right? You already invested. Now she's spent money to give you. She's like, fuck. Now she's put some money up because we're still friends, regardless of her genitalia. You're still friends at this point now. Like you created a
Yeah,
bond.
that's very true.
Yeah, and like you was like, man, I want to kiss her. I want to do all this stuff. And for the most part, based on the pictures, he said, she's being truthful. But then we're here. I was like, oh shit. You made this.
You
This
said you
scene.
didn't touch me, so.
Yeah, we've already got there. And so I think what will happen is she'll be like, well, we're here. I'm rock hard. I'm still a fucking dude. I'm going to go ahead and let her suck on my penis. And that's the gateway to anal. Because why is she sucking on it? In that moment, like, oh my God, like, oh yeah, I guess I'll touch it. And it's the least I can do. She flew here. She's sucking my dick. The least I can do is reciprocate with a little handy. And then next thing you know, that handy turns into 69. And now
Oh, fuck.
And now you're like,
This is not a. This is
Yeah,
not
if I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna go all in.
and now you're like, and she's like, what do you think? You sound like you're speaking in
not
Thai.
where you like to be in.
No, but then you're there and it's like, well, shit, am I gay?
I don't know. There's just
In that
something
moment.
that like I could never get past looking at a butthole and right beneath it, the back of a ball sack.
Yeah.
I will never be able to be like, that looks fucking good. Never. It just is. I look at it and I think that is foul. I don't want to touch it. I want to smell it. Keep it away from me.
Fair enough. But I would imagine if she's doing all that, she's shaved her body. And so she's going to be
That's
smooth
like a
and, yeah, her back's by waxed. So, but no, I mean, are we bothering you, sir?
Well, I'm just checking some notifications. Just shelved that. What the fuck are you so nosy for, huh? What the fuck?
2 hours of the week, you can't not be on your phone. Am I?
You always got something to bitch about, you know?
I'm not. Why, why? Yeah, that's. I mean, why? Because you said
Serial complainer.
Jenny and I are both complainers.
Mm-hmm.
So, if Jenny and I are both complainers, what's the common denominator, sir?
Being a bitch.
No. If everybody around you that you care about and whose balls and vaginas you want to see
I don't want to see any balls.
complaining,
That's what you guys were doing last night.
and just no.
It means I have like some type of Freudian desire because maybe it's connected to my mother.
But he did
complaining.
offer to suck my dick last
Oh,
No.
He's great at it.
night.
Sort of, but not really.
He'll know what you like.
No, he did offer. He's like, so what's up? I don't remember what you said. We were having a conversation.
Oh yeah, you said you were gonna get some meth whores over
Which
here,
I don't know
and you were
how-
just gonna feed them meth and get them, and trap them here so that you give them meth, and then they suck your dick and they fuck you all day long. And I said, I'm ready.
You see? Now, had I been like, okay, and then pull my pants down, where would we be?
Well, I would have been like, where's the fucking shit first? I don't fucking suck before. I suck after. I'm like, how you think
Okay.
this is my first fucking sucking? No fucking way. I've been fucked like this before.
Fool me once. That's how it is. So, but to go back to the complainer, do you consider your grandma to be a complainer?
Yeah.
Okay. You see a pattern developing here?
I'm surrounded by fucking complainers. I'm the only one who can suck it up and just deal with things.
Why do you think we're all complaining to you?
I don't know, because I have because I'm just one of those people that you can talk to.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. We have the next episode is going to be an intervention. We're going to get all you people together. We're going to find out why we all complain about you or to you.
Yeah.
There's a pattern developing. It's not just me and Jenny and
Get your
Grandma.
mom or get your grandma.
I would love to have her. I would love to have her on here. Oh my God, she would come. If I asked her, she would.
Yeah, I think she would. I think she would like it. She likes to talk.
I think it's something to do with maybe
Are we
the
done?
HDMI cable.
Okay, is it not working again now? Or is it keep
Yeah, it's just freezing constantly. I'm having like every 10 seconds I'm having to fucking. Yeah, I say we call it. This is going to be a good episode. We should just.
All right.
Totally figuring out what the fucking problem is. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because every time it freezes me like in this.
That's how you look.
Yeah.
So we'll quit here, 'cause I was going to talk about. We can go to QAnon later. To get over here.
Hey, it's hard to find QAnon people. They all got banned everywhere, dude. I guess you got to make a Parler fucking account.
Is it still around? I thought it got banned.
Well, they didn't get banned. It's just that Amazon Web Services just said they weren't going to host them anymore. They probably went somewhere else.
Gotcha. All right. Hour and 47 minutes is good.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions and you want to know anything about our guests, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. And yeah, make sure to drop us a like, give us a subscribe,
And we'll see y'all in the next
You can
one.
send us a text and we can send
Yeah,
it to him.
send us a text, call us, do whatever.